Howdy, folks. Happy Thursday. It is balmy in Buffalo, tribute there to Pete Tessier. And is it balmy in New Jersey?
Oh, yeah, 90-something degrees. I did some work this morning outside, and I did it early.
Well, I'll tell you about the work that I'm doing outside, and it's, well, I'll give you the full story during the pre-show, but you start first. Go ahead.
All right, so I noticed that Chris Jericho, the wrestler, has a cruise going, and what's interesting, he's had it for a few years. He no, that's Rob Van Dam.
I thought Jericho did that too.
No.
Okay.
No. Jericho had some other gimmicks, but not that one. But anyhow, he's got this cruise going, and this year he has hired his dad to be the greeter, Ted Irvine.
Oh.
And I got to tell you, these guys have a great relationship, and I mean great, because I have interviewed Ted, and Ted will talk about Chris all day long. And, again, since he was a pro hockey player, to allow his son to sort of be a wrestler when he probably thought he should be a hockey player, is a bit of a reach. And, Ted has his own little fame, especially with the Rangers. He, in 71, he got an assist. He shot a puck that went off the goalie, and Pete Stemkowski put it in. It was a triple overtime win against the Blackhawks in the playoffs in a game 6, and then they lost game 7 because that's what the Rangers do. But it's a big game in Ranger history, and Irvine was a big part of that. And he was a really good hockey player, but he's a great guy. And the fact that he and Jericho, we put out 100 Ranger greats. I actually saw his band Fozzy. I was able to cover them, and not knowing him at all, we went to like the back of the house and gave my 100 Ranger greats book to like his manager, somebody, and they were like, yeah, we'll give it to Chris. And I was like, all right, whatever. Right. And literally a few days later, he tweeted about it.
Oh.
And and said, hey, they wrote a nice thing about my dad. And I've always just been taken about these two, just like a really good father and son relationship.
Yeah.
Still going strong. I looked up Ted's age. He's 76.
Yeah.
And he's going to be out there supporting Chris. So I appreciate that.
Honestly, Jericho has always been one of my favorite wrestlers back.
Yeah, Y2J is most popular.
Right. And the thing was, it's like, honestly, I think his mic ability was almost equal to The Rock. I mean, especially when like he was insulting Stephanie McMahon and Shane and Triple H. That was it. That was phenomenal. So he's great. Okay, in my long list of pet peeves, like you said, you were outside doing some work before it got really ridiculously hot. Well, that was my plan yesterday. My plan was my summer project has been to rehabilitate the patio in the back patio at my house. It's a wooden patio. It's about 20 years old. It's been weathered and everything. Somebody painted it, which was the stupidest thing to do. So my summer project was to sand it, and then restain it and seal it, and get it back to something that's not completely embarrassing. So I've been doing that, and the last stage was that the actual sanding of the deck. And I went to a well-known mega store known for renting equipment.
I know which one that is.
Yes, and
Lowe's doesn't really rent equipment. Anyhow.
Yes. And I spoke to a guy who seemed to know what he was talking about, and he said, what you need to use for your particular deck is a band sander, and it says that it'll take the paint right off, it'll even out the boards, everything will be beautiful. I said, okay. Now, I wasn't prepared to get at that moment. I was going to go the next day. So yesterday was the next day. I go in, different guy, and he's like, oh, no, you don't want to use that. You want to use this big, heavy deck sander, buff deck sander. You get this piece of fiberglass and a big square piece of sandpaper, and it sort of vibrates. And this will work fantastic.
Yeah, so how do you know which guy's right?
Right. Well, yeah. So, of course, being like Tsar Nicholas, I listened to the last person who I spoke to. And because I don't know. I'm just the one who's going to be working their ass off doing this. Yeah. So I listen to the last guy. I take this big thing. I drive it home. I plug it in. And I'm going at it for 2.5 hours. And I couldn't even get the paint off of 4 boards. It was a complete and utter waste of time. And so I go back this morning pissed off and tell them exactly the story that I told you. And I said, I want the other sander. And the guy, refunds me the money on the one, exchanges the other.
The other one's out rented.
No. Thankfully, they have multiple. Okay. And this one, it's a little work, but it's definitely working a lot better than. But okay, the thing is, I'm doing it outside in 90-degree sweltering heat, and now basically I have to wait until after the podcast here until it's till the shadows. Till I'm in shade,
yes.
Because otherwise, I'm going to be sweating bullets, and I'll look like I'll look extremely
like red. In Dallas.
Yes, exactly. I'll be melting. So yes. So to that guy who pointed me in the wrong direction, you're great.
Yeah.
Hello, Hockey World. Today is Thursday, August 26, 2021.
I'm Russ Cohen from Sportsology.
And I'm Michael Lagello, and this is the HockeyBuzzcast here on HockeyBuzz.com. Eck will be joining us in a few minutes. So like yesterday, we'll start with our prospects. Today is the Columbus Blue Jackets, and Russ has been picking a couple prospects that could be on the verge or within a year or two to have some sort of impact with it at the NHL level. And as I said, the Blue Jackets. So, Russ, go ahead.
Let's do Cole Sillinger first. Just so people know, we're not going to do Chinnikov because I'm not the biggest fan. Not to say he's not being an NHLer, because he is. But he's just like a one-trick pony. And if that one trick isn't super fantastic, then he's not going to be a great hockey player over time. So I'm not blown away by him. So, but Cole Sillinger, terrific all-around player, center, Mike Sillinger's kid.
Right.
Going to be way better of a hockey player, I think, than Mike Sillinger was. I think he's a bit more of a goal scorer than a playmaker, but he's got a good shot. He's defensively responsible. He's good on faceoffs already. When he has the puck, he's looking for that next play to make. And if he's not going to make that play, a lot of times he will shoot it then. And he's a good skater, could be a better skater. So I think that's something when that improves and he gets a little stronger. He does want to play a little bit physical just when he has to. So this is a guy who I felt like where they got him, at 12th, it was a heck of a pick. Like he might be a guy we look at years later and say could have been higher.
Right.
But we'll see about that. All right. Kent Johnson's the next one. Now, Kent Johnson will be a much better offensive player than Chinnikov because there's more things to his game. Chinnikov may be a better goal scorer, but that's it. What Johnson can do that a lot of people can't is control the puck and control it along the wall. And it's hard to get it from him. And he's a good cycler. So if he's on a line that cycles, and remember, he's only like 165 pounds now, something like that. When he gets stronger, and I'm sure at Michigan he's been working out like a fiend, whether he plays 1 year there, 1 year there, 1 more year there, or 2 more years there, whatever he decides to do, and it's probably just this year, but that's something where he goes from there, he goes to the AHL, goes to the NHL. He has a terrific shot. He's smart. Will he be a center? I don't know. When he was playing with Beniers was the center and he was the winger. Right. I feel like he could do both, but maybe better with the wing because of the way he cycles the puck. So I don't know if he'll play that much center in college. We'll see. If they split him up from Beniers, then certainly he'll play some more. Beyond that, though, I really do like his skating. His skating's really good. I like his zone entries. There's a lot to like there. He definitely gets assists. He will pile up some points. He could be a very good star. Not very good. He could be a star player. So that's the hope for him. And I think that happens within 2 to 3 years that he becomes a star player. So Chinnikov's a bigger guy. He's super fast. He'll get to the NHL quicker, but it doesn't mean he's better.
Right, and Chinnikov was drafted 21st overall, and Johnson was a top 5 pick. So,
yeah,
you would think now. Sillinger was drafted 12th overall, so mid first round, mid to late first round. Those are comparables, but really, it's a situation where I think that Ken Johnson, he's 6'1", 167.
Yeah.
So we're talking, probably fills out to 185, 190, and when he gets to the NHL, and that's a pretty good size player, but we don't know whether he projects out to being a forward or a center or
center. Yeah, I like I said, I'm gonna doubt that he projects out to be a center. I'm gonna say that I like the way he plays along the wall. I appreciate the way he plays along the wall. I like his tenacity on the puck. And like I said, at 165, if it's hard to get the puck away, what's he going to be like at 175, 180? So, and that's probably what he'll be as an NHLer, like somewhere in that range. And it's okay. He'll be a wiry guy, but I think that little extra strength is good to go along with his hockey sense and everything else. I mean, Michigan has a heck of a team. Everybody's talking about the guy yesterday. Listen, I want to see him play first. I have no idea how good he is. I'm only going by Darren Dreger, who has never seen him, and other people who have never seen him.
Right.
I like to see a guy first before I start saying, hey, he could be the best recruit in the country. Great. I'll see him this year in the USHL, and then I'll have a better idea.
Yeah.
I want to overhype him.
Now, sticking with prospects here, and this guy's a prospect, but let's just say he has gone through a very ugly situation over the last few years. Mitchell Miller, who was I think a 4th-round pick of Arizona, and
maybe earlier.
Yeah, third. It was 3rd or 4th round. It was their top pick. And it came out after he was drafted that there was an accusation and a bullying when he was in minor hockey. And it ended up that Arizona rescinded their rights to him. And there was question of whether he would get any opportunity anywhere to play. And Zach said 4th round, 114th overall by Arizona. So it came out yesterday that Tri-City in the USHL is going to be giving him an opportunity to play.
A job back. He was there before.
Right. Now, here's the thing, and okay, fine. If you want to give him an opportunity, fine. I don't agree with it, but he came out, and here was the quote. I think when I was 14, I was just a young boy, but I've matured a lot. I've done service hours since then, and I think when I'm at Tri-City with Coach Noreen and the other coaches, they'll be able to help me be more mature than I have been in the past couple of years. I was unable to reach out to the victim of the bullying after the incident, but I think eventually I will definitely reach out and obviously say I'm sorry for all the inconvenience I caused when we were 14 with their family and the child. Okay, somebody who we both follow on Twitter, I won't say who, said, how difficult is it for you to reach out? If you wanted to reach out,
years.
Yeah. So
it's baloney. The whole thing's baloney.
Yeah, this is CYA bull crap, and it's like,
and don't keep harping on the fact that you were 14. You are now not 14. You still haven't apologized.
Right.
So I would have no place for him on my hockey team. There's no accountability there. He is saying what he needs to say to get back on a team and hopefully in his mind get drafted, but I don't hear any real remorse. No. He hasn't said anything to the victim or their family other than these cheap quotes.
Yeah, all he's basically saying is the bare minimum of what he has to say to get an opportunity. There is no I don't think there's any remorse whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny, I get what you're saying as far as kids make mistakes, and yes, you know what? But also, you have to atone for those mistakes, and he hasn't done that. He hasn't talked to the person whose life he made miserable at that time. That's a big deal to me.
Yeah. Now, we're not going to do a full show today because there's not a lot of stuff going on, but there were a couple rather significant contract extensions that we have to discuss. One was a player with a year left before UFA, and that was Sean Couturier of the Flyers, and we'll start with that one. The other one was Svechnikov, and ironically, both were for the same amount, an 8-year max deal at $7.75 million. We haven't seen and we'll talk about Couturier first. We haven't seen the money breakdown yet, but Couturier, what is he, 27, 26, 27?
Yeah, I want to say that's about right.
Okay, let me just, I think, 28. He's 28.
28.
Okay, so
it was one or the other.
Two different things here. With Couturier, I think since he's 28, that means this deal goes to 36. They gave him the 8th year to stretch the AAV out a little bit. I'm sure that once we see the breakdown of this contract, I'll bet you it'll be light in the front, light in the back, and in the middle it'll be really heavy.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to be light in the front based on their other issues, and maybe at that point they could trade JVR next year. But
the cap hit will be the same. But what I'm saying is money wise, because he's
maybe bonuses and things will be different.
Well, it's more of the escrow because all these contracts, it's like because the escrow is 20% next year and then tapers down. All these players on new deals are taking less at the beginning because they don't want to give away.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, but we know Couturier probably is going to be the next team captain. It's either him or Provorov. This is a very team friendly deal for the Flyers.
It's a team friendly deal. He's the best player on the team. He is a Selke winner. He probably could have won it one other time, maybe in his career. Maybe he'll win it again. Maybe he'll be that guy. But Bergeron's never retiring, so who knows when that'll happen. But for him, he's their number one center. When he's out, they're hurting. I want to say he played half of that season last year on a bum hip, and he still was making great plays because he's smart and he's ahead of the play a lot of times. He can shut you down. He could be a beast in the crease. He's gotten stronger and smarter. He's the son of a coach, and it shows. And really, he's a guy who helps other players. So while this one is definitely team friendly, the next one we'll probably say is a bargain.
Yeah.
But this was good. The Flyers had to get this done, and clearly he wanted to be here, and so all that was a smart deal for both.
Yeah. Now, I'm sorry. People get the narrative that I don't like the Carolina Hurricanes, and they're right. I don't. I don't like their owner, and I don't like the way he treats players, and I don't like the negotiating tactics that they do because, honestly, I think that they're a cheap organization. And I can't, I'm sure Svechnikov loves it in Carolina, and that's why he signed. But I just saw the breakdown, Russ, on this deal. It's a $7.75 million hit AAV. He's coming off his ELC. So he's getting 7.75 at age 22, I think, which is great. But compared to Austin and I'm not comparing Svechnikov to Austin Matthews. I'm just comparing the. Is
it 7.75 straight through, or
it's 7.75 flat, except for year one where he gets a $4 million signing bonus.
So he's getting some money, yeah.
Yeah, so they gave him money up front, but the rest of it is pure salary, no signing bonus, $7.75 million, and. If you compare that to, Svechnikov was a number 2 pick overall in number 3 pick overall in 2017. Matthews was number 1 in 2016. Matthews' deal, Marner's deal, all these top picks, most of the top picks on their second deal are getting heavy signing bonus, and Svechnikov gets nothing.
Some signing bonus.
So 1 year.
Right.
Year.
I mean, this is, again, I'm going to liken this to the Giancarlo Stanton contract and say,
yes,
he probably will not finish out this contract in Carolina.
No, and that in and of itself will make his deal more tradable.
Yes,
because it's not signing bonus. Teams will say, and if he continues to Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Zach. I wasn't sure if it was seventh or third. He was second after Dahlin in 2018.
Right.
Sorry, I get him if I'm
Yeah,
not looking. But this is a very friendly deal for Carolina, but I don't get it. I mean, there must be something to these players taking these hometown discount deals other than unless it's strictly the fact that Carolina's got them by the short hairs and they have no other option.
No, I think it's a mix. I mean, he didn't have his best year last year. We don't know what the low ball offer was. So clearly he won this because he didn't accept the first offer. Now, my guess is the first offer was probably like $7 a year. That's my guess.
I thought that the offer that came out that they rejected was 7 times 8.
Right. Well, it's just 7 a year, so now he's getting 7.75.
Right.
That's and maybe he wasn't getting any bonus, and now he's getting bonus. So in a way, he won that deal, right? In a way, they did get him at a very good discount because he didn't have his best year. But the one thing, Tom Dundon really did hit it off with Andrei Svechnikov pre-draft, at the draft. I saw it going on. I was hanging with the Svechnikov family for a little bit. Then I left my phone somewhere, and Evgeny found it and gave it to me, which was really nice of him.
Wow, that's great.
I know, because all of a sudden I'm like, uh-oh, where's my phone? And then a minute later, as Evgeny Svechnikov walks up to me, he gives me my phone. But the point was, I saw Waddell creating a connection with the kid and his family, and that was his first pick, right, as an owner. And so it meant something to him. And so I'm glad he did give him a long-term deal and a good deal that he deserved. So this does show that Dundon has it in him to do it. And this is Dundon's guy. It is truly Dundon's guy. Whatever happened with Ned Jelkovic, he wasn't his guy. So this at least shows that if you get drafted, there is a chance you can get a long-term deal with them. Not everybody's going to. There's 2 of them so far. 2 on a hockey team is not a lot. It's just that's the way they're going to be structured. But this is a good deal.
Couple news and notes here. There was an article on the KHL English website regarding it was a Q&A with Alexei Morozov, the former Penguins player, who's the KHL president. And when talking about the NHL and their relation, now the header says games against the NHL, which is not, there are not going to be any head-to-head games, at least not in the near future. But what they were talking about was the Olympics. And Morozov said, we are in correspondence with Bill Daly. Right now, both leagues are preparing for the start of their seasons, and they, meaning the NHL, still have questions about the Olympics. So
he's putting it all on the NHL.
Putting it all on the NHL. Now,
the KHL doesn't care.
Right. The KHL, they're gonna go no matter what.
Right. They don't care. They don't listen. I know some people there, and they've been very fast and loose with wearing masks, not wearing masks, letting fans in. They had fans last year. We were all aghast when they had fans there last year, and the virus was surging. So they don't care. They're going to do whatever they want to do. Of course, they're going to go to the Olympics, and they can't even be Team Russia. They're still going to be whatever they're calling themselves. I forget.
Olympic Athletes of Russia.
Right.
OAR.
Yeah. And so, great. And they're going to keep waiting, and the NHL is going to stick to this deadline where we have a few days left on, and maybe it spills into September, but it probably doesn't go much further into September, and it doesn't look good. I know their teams are playing qualifiers. I saw that Chris Peters wrote that Poland beat Belarus, and there's a goaltender from Lancaster, PA, which is about an hour from me, that beat Belarus with like 40-something saves. Good for him. That may all be for naught. I mean, I can't tell you that I have great confidence that this is going to happen. I do think the NHL is trying their best to, do what they said to be, to do the right thing by the players in this case. But I also think the COVID insurance is going to be the killer. And I still think that. Yeah.
Now, there was a post.
Is that all the analysis you have? Just yup on that,
No, I'm just searching for stories here. Oh, okay. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not dismissing your point. I'm just trying to give us content to make it to a half hour before we end.
I get it.
Tuukka Rask was interviewed on WEEI in Boston, and basically indicated that he wants to play with one team and one team only.
You had that feeling, right? Remember I said,
yes.
I don't think he's looking for money or anything like that. We did get that part right.
So, I mean, the fact here is Jeremy Swayman has options to go to the American Hockey League. So it wouldn't put the Bruins in a difficult situation for Rask once he's healthy to re-sign. And he indicates, I'll probably be ready around Christmas time, so hopefully I can start skating here in a month, and said he would be a cheap goalie for them.
Okay. I mean, if everything goes right, that's great, and I'm happy for him, and I'm happy that he's in this frame of mind. I would rather see him play than hang it up, but I kind of felt it was going to be Bruins or bust, and I just didn't know if he was going to continue on if he had a tough rehab. So this is good, and based on things that happened last year too. So this is good. It's good news for the Bruins. I don't think he's going to be that cheap, Mike, because it's going to be a half season. I think he'll be like $3 million still. Well,
it'll be prorated. I mean, if he signs $3 million, then he'll get $1 million. Or remember,
no. I mean, I think they'll still have to pay $3 million on prorated. I don't think he's going to be that cheap.
I mean, let me just see what because remember they signed a bunch of contracts.
I know,
and they have $1.9 million in cap space. $1.1 million. Excuse me.
Today. What does Swayman make?
Swayman's entry level. He's making 900, I believe. Let me see.
That's like
925. 925.
So if somebody else gets injured or whatever, he'll get $2.5 million then.
Yeah. So we'll take a couple questions in the chat before we end the show. Now, U.S. and Canada are playing in the Women's World Championships. I think it's tonight.
Tonight, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check in on that. Although I have to say I really haven't checked in on the other games. But
no, I've watched some of the U.S. I really haven't watched Canada. But Canada's still really good. It's going to be a good game. I mean, Maddie Rooney got hurt early on for the U.S., and she has won a gold medal as their goalie. The other goalie's pretty good, and I forget her name. Sorry. If they had Rooney, I would feel like they could win this easy. Mm-hmm. But without that, I don't think it's going to be easy, and I think it's going to be another really, really tough game.
Zach, who's our Columbus blogger, is asking me about Timothy Liljegren. This is what I think. The Leafs, because of their cap constraints, are probably going to carry 6 defensemen. Both Liljegren and Rasmus Sandin have options to go back and forth. And with their cap situation, I think right now they're going to carry 6. And when Liljegren plays, Sandin will be sent down. And when Sandin plays, Liljegren will be sent down. So I think they'll both get regular playing time, but not every game. Liljegren has an advantage since he's right-handed. I think ideally they would like to play both of them on the same bottom pairing, but they have Travis Dermott, who's making $1.5 million, and he would have to go through waivers, and they'd probably lose him on waivers. Yeah. So that's that they have enough. If they make a move someplace before training camp or after training camp, then that includes Dermott or includes somebody who's making any money, then then maybe that changes. But I think they'll give him an opportunity. But he's definitely he had a really good year in the American Hockey League last year. I think with almost any other organization, he would be in the NHL now, but because the Leafs were making a run wanted to make a run for the Cup last year, they were leaning towards players with more experience. They didn't bring back Zach Bogosian. They're going to get, I think Sandin, when he plays, is going to be on the first power play because I think they want to give him that opportunity. Plus, I think they also want to limit Morgan Riley's numbers it would enable them to re-sign him. And no, Funky, I think you're wrong. I don't think he values Dermott over Liljegren. I think Dermott gives them the security of being an experienced player. But if they get I think they're going to give Sandin a long look. I think they're going to give Liljegren a long look. But it's a question if they start to show any warts in terms of young guys making mistakes, they really can't determine that. They can't stand that. They're going to be in a tight race in the Atlantic for a playoff spot. So they really can't deal with that. So that I think that's going to affect them. Now here,
I think they're wasting an asset, though. I do.
Matthias Norlander.
Don't you feel like they are?
Who, say that again?
I think they're wasting an asset.
I think, yeah. I mean, I would have given him a chance before now, but I think that there were enough warts in his game that was the reason why they've overcooked him. Now, I think he's gonna not that he's gonna be as good as he's ever gonna be, because with the NHL experience he'll improve. But I think that I think he's benefited from the extra time. He's played 3 full years in the American Hockey League. It's put up or shut up now.
Yeah.
Okay. FA in the chat. What is your take on Matthias Norlander?
Yeah. I'm trying to find my notes on him. I saw him couple years ago. Let's go to another question, and hopefully I'll find them.
Broussard to the Flyers is confirmed. Yes.
I got a thing for that yesterday.
Yeah, Sandin's, and that's the reason why I think Sandin isn't going to get up. Sandin, late in the season, played really well in the power play, and I think the Leafs want Riley to be the shutdown guy on the top pairing with Brody. And I think they want him to worry less about the power play because, frankly, his puck distribution is really good. He's a good passer. He just doesn't have a big shot, and that's killed them on the power play. Their power play in the second half, the reasons why their power play struggled in the second half of the season is because no team, the tactic that teams were using against the Leafs was cut off Marner, cut off Matthews, prevent Marner from passing, prevent Matthews from shooting, and let Morgan Riley tee it up from the point because we're not worried about his point shot. That was the whole thing. And that worked. Their power play was one of the worst power plays in the NHL in the second half after being one of the best in the first half.
No, I agree. All right, so I did find a little – Norlander's skating is really good. His speed's good there. His speed is good. His offensive game is definitely coming along. I think he's still 5'11", so he's not the biggest of defensemen, but he is a guy that has a good two-way game, and you would think his offense would start to improve. He hasn't played in the SHL yet. At 21, he's still with Frölunda, so we'll see where he plays this year. But I think it's a decent pick. I don't think it's a guarantee of anything, but if he's going to make it, he's going to make it in a few years. He's definitely at least 2 years away, maybe 3.
Andrew Levy in the chat, does Bolduc or Robin Salo or Samuel Bolduc have a chance to make the Islanders this year?
I mean, Salo would have a chance if Mayfield actually got traded because he could play that role.
Right.
But if that doesn't happen, I don't think either of them are playing, at least to start.
Yeah, so, remember, Andy Green is probably their number 6.
Yes.
They didn't sign him to be a number 7. He played last year, so unless they trade somebody, those guys are going to start.
It's going to be hard for Salo to break in for sure.
Right. Chances of Alexander Holtz playing in the NHL this year?
I mean, they're pretty good. He's going to start, and he played in Binghamton last year. I wrote about it for EP Ringside,
right?
And I pitted him and Lucas Raymond against each other, and they're both almost on the exact same track. Holtz had a little bit of an edge because he played 10 games with Binghamton, and now that's Utica, so he'll start the year in Utica.
Right.
He's got Kevin Dineen as a coach, which is a nice thing to have. Terrific goal scorer. Skating's there. He's smart. He could be there half a year and then be up with the Devils. So I think we'll see him before the end of the season. I just don't think they're going to give him the extended look at the start. I think they're going to wait.
No news on Chara that I've heard. Dylan Holloway, what do you think of Dylan Holloway?
Yeah, he's terrific. I mean, he's a terrific center. He has a lot more confidence than he did a couple of years ago. He was going up against, strong competition in the NCAA. He was still winning faceoffs and playing good defensively, but his offense wasn't there. The offense is coming around now. Don't expect that offense that he had in junior hockey. I don't think that's there, but I do think he's a really good two-way guy. He may be more defensive than offensive when he hits the NHL, but he's going to be very useful. It'll be interesting to see. I think he could still be 2 years away.
All right. We'll be back tomorrow for another edition of the Hockey Buzzcast. Thank you, everybody, for watching. For Russ Cohen, I'm Michael Agello. Thanks again for watching. And remember, without the buzz,